Here is a Sigma DM1. I'm guessing from around the 90s. It doesn't have the serial numbers in it. I think they wore off. So it just came in for setup, and I replaced a couple of tuners. I tried to find the exact stock ones so I didn't have to remount the holes or drill new holes for the screws in the back. So I got them to match at everything except the buttons are different, but the customer's okay with that. Cheaper tuners, but you don't want to put a lot of money into a cheaper guitar. So I could have put a $100 set on here, but that's probably about what the guitar is worth. So I just found some cheap ones. And let's go through just a quick review. This thing actually sounds pretty good. For a laminate top guitar, this has some volume. Just play through it a little bit. One of the major issues with this one, and it's a common issue with any older guitar, no matter what the quality is, it needs a neck reset. But again, it's a cheaper guitar, and it's probably not worth doing, so we're going to keep it the way it is. The saddle is very, very low. So, and it came like that. It's to the point where it would probably buzz on the saddle if you did a lower tuning. I could shave the bridge, but it's painted bridge. It would just be a lot of work. Again, it's a cheaper guitar. Again, neck reset. I don't know if that's worth doing. I could cut into the bridge, but you definitely don't want to do that to a guitar if you're going to sell it. So I could take a file and just file where the strings are and get everything really low that way. And some bridges are actually designed kind of like that. So you have a little bit more room to move the saddle. But don't do that to your guitars if you want to sell them. If it's something you're going to keep forever, then no problem. But you see volume's great. It's held up pretty well. I mean, other than that needing a neck reset, but that's a common thing. The finish, man, it cleaned up great. Probably polyurethane finish. And I know some people don't like polyurethane. I have no issue with it whatsoever. If you're going to have a guitar that's going to get beat up a little bit, going to get played hard, that polyurethane is tough. And this is probably from the 90s or so, maybe even older. And the finish is great. We'll take a close look at. I mean, other than a few little dings and scratches, it's held up really well over the years. All the braces are tight. Nothing is coming loose on it. The neck is decent. It's other than needing a reset, and it actually came in bowed back a little bit, so I put a little bit of relief in it, not too much because it'll be nearly unplayable if I do. So right now it's even maybe a little bit too straighter than I'd like a neck to be. Pretty clear, going up, and unless I play hard, it'll buzz on the first fret of the third string if I really dig into it. But that's about it. So the frets are actually pretty level, even with being played a little bit. So they're nice and clear. Of course, won't know how level they are until we get the action low. But it's good to have at least maybe one acoustic guitar with your action a little higher, so if you're in a completely acoustic jam session, you can cut through. And I don't think this guitar would have an issue with cutting through it. And eventually, I'll compare it to my D18 here towards the end of the video. And when it came in, the nut was terribly high. I don't know how it got out of the factory like that. I don't think it's ever been replaced. I think it was the stock nut. But, I mean, extremely difficult to play. That'll throw your intonation way off. Thankfully it's an easy job, but if you don't know a lot about guitars and you get one like that, and that's your first guitar, you're going to think guitar playing is impossible. So if you're a beginner, try to find someone who knows a little bit about guitars, who knows how to set them up. And I know most people seem to be getting guitars online now, and you won't know until you get it. So try to find a setup guy around. You could be really talented, but as soon as you pick up a guitar that's unplayable, you're going to think you don't have the ability. And watch a bunch of YouTube videos on beginner guitars too. All right. The playability at this point's okay. If it was one of many of my guitars, I could live with it. If it was my only guitar, I would want to modify it, get the neck reset, or shave the bridge, or cut into the bridge where the strings are to bring those down. But again, don't do that to your guitars if you ever want to sell them. And yeah, bridge is still glued down great. So that, I mean, it was a well-made guitar. That's a really common thing on older guitars, or even some new ones, is that bridge will lift or separate from the body, and this one is great. So, they're painted. The bridge is painted and the fretboard's painted. I don't like that. So, again, if I'm going to shave the bridge or something, then I'd have to paint it again. It's just more work. The specs online, little information I did find was they said it was rosewood, and by the wear, it doesn't look like rosewood at all. It's a lighter wood, maybe even a particle board. And so if I want to cut into it or anything like that, I'd have to paint it. It's just more work, and it would be worth doing on maybe a $1,000 guitar, but not on a cheaper one. Oh, it is a laminate top. I don't know if I've said that already. But for a laminate top, it sounds really good, and some laminate top guitars can sound great. They're tougher. They hold up to humidity changes. The temperature changes better than solid top guitars do. Of course, if I just had one guitar, I'd want it to be all solid wood. But I could make it okay with a laminate guitar. Especially if you just play plugged in, it doesn't really matter as much. Another thing, the nut is a little narrow, a little too narrow for me. I have a large or maybe a medium-sized hand, but if you have a smaller hand, that's probably a good thing. It's just a little bit cramped here lower on the fretboard, and it gets a little better as I get up here. So that's another thing to factor in for it. If you're looking for a new guitar and you've never bought one before. And even if you do have small hands, you can make it by with a wider nut. Classical guitar players don't seem to have an issue with that. Again, I think the fingerboard's probably 16-inch radius, which is pretty good for me. I haven't looked at the specs. I'm just assuming. I mean, this was based off of D18, so it's probably about the same as Martin. I wish I would use Martin tuners, or tuning machines, but I guess that's about all the points I can think of for now. And I'll go ahead and just play a little bit and then compare it to the D18. So I'll just do the D18 comparison now. So here's a G chord. So as you can tell, this thing has good volume. It won't have quite the broad sound spectrum as a solid wood guitar. Sigma again. It's a little thinner sounding. Laminate top guitars tend to be a little bit more focused on a certain frequency range. And here we go. Just a little playthrough. And I'll do another video of just playing through the guitar, so you don't have to listen to me talk if you don't want to. But I don't know, that's about it. Hopefully you found it informative. Thanks for watching.